Hi. I haven't been working at this too hard, but anyway, I this is so far it's not welded in. It's just sitting there, and this one of course goes here, and I'm just going to put a bolt and a nut down through it, and this here cut this hard rubber, and I got a sleeve to go up it in the center, so I'll cut that off so it just nicely fits in there. And this gas line is rusted, and there's no gas tank in this car. This car hasn't had a gas tank since 1980. But anyway, up in there, that bolt right there, the bracket here for the shock is missing. So I got to cut that bolt out and weld a washer onto that bracket and put a bolt back in while I have this area open, so I have a little bit more room to work on it. But I can't put it together with that bracket missing that bolt. That side's all right. But anyway, I jigged up a bolt up through with a little washer that fit in here, and then tightened it up. And then I put this on top and hit it with a hammer with a little bit of paint, and it made a mark on the back side to tell me where the hole was, because I'm terrible at measurements. But anyway, and that's 16th plate. So that, I figure that'll be more than plenty good enough. So I managed to get that much done today. It's kind of nice out and it's warm, and it's supposed to rain the next few days. So I've been a little slow, but in here I got this wheel hub off. No problem. Oh, one of those little brake clips. Oh, there must be another one of those. I'll have to take a look. Don't want to lose anything. Okay, so anyway, I used the wheel studs in the hub with that bar to hold it from turning to take the axle bolts out, because they're only torqued at 65. And I had that off a year or two ago when I put all new axle boots on it and new grease. So anyways, I was careful doing it with the wheel studs, but it came off, and of course I had to take each bolt out and move them as I turned it to get to the next axle bolt. But anyway, that was no problem getting that off. And when I unhooked the emergency brake stuff, those gizmos all fell. So I'm going to have to study it quite a bit to put it back together. And I'll have to look for that other one of those little things. It must be sitting here someplace. That's one thing about a nice clean painted floor. When something drops, you can see it. But anyway, this is badly worn. And on the back of this, it's polished, shiny, where this rocked back and forth. And it cut a groove in this emergency brake thing where the hub came in and hit the emergency brake. So I'll have to weld that up and file it down. But anyway, I'm putting new bearings in this, but I have to take that nut off, and I believe it's torqued at 145 pounds torque. And here's my special wrench that came from Florida. Wasn't as expensive as the wheel bearings, but it was fairly expensive. Anyway, that fits in there beautiful. But the problem is I have to jig this up so it's solid. And then I have the store that sells fancy bolts. I'll buy 2 bolts with this thread, so I don't use these, because I'm not going to use these to try to take that nut off. It was all right with the axle, but not with the hub bolt. So I'll get 2 new bolts that I can use for a brace to hold the hub from turning. And I'll put blocks of wood in around this and put a jack on it to the ceiling of the barn to hold it secure, and then a bar coming off the threads or off the hub. And make sure, I'll have to be very careful not to scratch this surface here, because that's where the disc hits up against for its squareness. But anyway, this unit goes on either side of the car, or I suppose you could put dual calipers on it. But anyway, yeah, badly wore out wheel bearing in there. That'll be coming out. I put spacers in here to keep that all nice and snug and clean. But this is the easy part. Getting this off is the easy part. Like getting that nut off and rigmarole, and then pulling out the bearings. I don't know if I should be able to find somebody that has a bearing puller. And I got my new bearings. So anyway, next few days I'll put this back. I'll see how it goes. But the car in the end, the last time I started it, it circulated, everything warmed up, the radiator warmed up and the heater was hot, and it never went up over 195. So one thing about it, if the thermostat sticks closed, it's when it's still in the garage. It's because I don't go anywhere and turn it off and stay there overnight. So if I'm out on the road and I drop in someplace for an hour, the thermostat's not going to close because it's 90 degrees outdoors, like summer. So the only time I have to worry about the thermostat opening is when the motor's cold and I start it. And most of the time that'll be at home. But I'm pretty careful, more careful than I've ever been when it comes to where I go and how often, because the roads around here are really bumpy, potholes and tractors and mud and crap and construction. And this car, I don't drive in town. Like no dirt roads. So anyway, I don't plan on driving too much. And that's only if I have good luck to get everything back together. And like, I'd like to put the Oldsmobile on the road. But anyway, I can't do everything I like, but guess just enjoy myself for what it's worth. But anyway, it's really, really nice out. It's supposed to rain the next couple days, so I should be able to get a few things done then. So anyway, the grass is growing. Right here, I transplanted a little pine tree here, and it's the last year's growth is still green, but the year before that's all yellow. Does anybody know what pine trees percolate with? Like, what can I put in the ground here? Like, what kind of fertilizer do pine tree? Although I do see the new growth coming, so I think it's going to survive. Anyway, see you guys. Have a good Sunday night. Thank you, and see you later.